Hi, welcome back to Mindful Mindsets. I'm Kat and this is Katie, and we are here today to talk about the mindset of joy. So, Katie, do you want to go ahead and kick us off with the stone that represents that and a little bit more about it?
Yeah, I would love to. So, our stone that represents joy is citrine. We've got our little affirmation card here that goes with any piece of our jewelry that has citrine on it. So, with its golden hues, symbolic of the sun's healing properties, citrine can evoke feelings of joyful energy. The stone serves as a reminder to remain present in every moment and to live life to its fullest. Happiness and sunlight seem to dance around the stone, reminding you to find and gather joy throughout your day.
So good. I love this stone.
It's so cute.
I love this attribute.
Never have too much joy.
Yes. So, Katie, how do you feel like joy relates to happiness? Like, is joy the same thing as happiness? Are they synonymous with each other? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, so actually prepping for this little episode here, I was just kind of looking for some questions that might be, beneficial to our listeners. And I came across this and I always just kind of assumed it's the same thing. Joy, happiness, they're both positive, happy words. But a lot of people brought up some really great points about joy being a more long lasting state of being. It's kind of just how you feel throughout a time period, where happiness is more of just the emotion and it's very short term. You can be happy in, a situation, but it's more of the emotion versus your state of being. And so while they're very similar and you can have happiness and joy at the same time, they're just a little bit different, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a really great way to look at it, is like the holistic, like kind of like what we're all maybe trying to get to just a little bit more of just feeling like that constant, like, even though if things are hard, I think we've talked about this in kind of like some of the other episodes, even though things are hard right now, like, it's okay. I know that's not this is like joy is kind of like almost like my baseline. And we're just like trying to always like maybe raise that baseline a little bit. So even if things are like, yeah, I'm happy, or, oh, I'm sad, but really we're still able to just feel that kind of like joy in our souls.
Feel some level of it regardless of what you're going through.
Yeah. So how do you feel like living in the present moment kind of like helps you feel that?
Great question. I think that when you're trying to stay present, you're not so worried about the past, you're not worried about the future, you're really able to focus in on what is happening right now. And that is where you're going to find joy, even in maybe more difficult circumstances. You can't just be joyful because of the future. It hasn't happened yet. And you can always pull from joy from your past. I think that's great to remember times that you did feel joy or times you're grateful for, that can help you continue to feel joy. But when you're in the present moment, you aren't going to lose that. Like, you have to stay where you are because it's not going to happen again. So
yeah, that's a really, really interesting point you brought up about like tapping into both the future and the past to kind of like be reminded of that feelings. And also I feel like the joy in the future often for me almost like manifests as like excitement. Like it's that anticipation that you're finding that joy, but you're still interesting, kind of like what you said, you're still, even though that thing that is in the future is kind of like causing that sensation or that emotion, evoking that within you, you're still feeling that in the present. And the same thing, like with the past, it's like you're recalling that really fond memory that's bringing you joy, but you're still like, you're feeling that like now in the present. It's just like a really interesting concept around like joy and being in the present with it.
And I think it's hard sometimes because there's so many distractions. I mean, like, our phones are going off all the time, our kids, I'm sure, dogs, like everything. My dogs are the distraction. But it can be really hard to do. And I think when people say that, sometimes I get a little bit defeated because I'm like, okay, well, it's hard right now. So it seems a little bit not as joyful. But I mean, if you can get to the point where you can feel even just a little bit of joy, kind of what we talked about with gratitude, even if you just find one little thing, it's going to be beneficial for you.
Yeah. So do you think that kind of relates to how you're able to find joy in both the good and bad times?
Yeah.
It's like finding that, you know, that little moment, or maybe like I said, sometimes you do tap into the past a little bit to bring that into the present, or tap into the future a little bit to bring it into the present. That's okay too.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. What might prevent you from feeling joy? What do you think is maybe sometimes that like block that people experience?
There's so many. I think a lot of times it's always negative stuff. I feel like comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
We hear all the time, and so comparing yourself to other people, other people's lives, we see all the good on social media, and I think there's a big push right now where people are trying to show more authentic versions of themselves in real life online, but there's still so much that you can compare yourself to, and that really makes it hard to be grateful for your own life and the joy that can be found in your life. So I think comparison is one. Jealousy kind of goes along with that. And then I think for myself, how I speak to myself can definitely prevent some joy from coming into my mind if I'm, not talking as nicely to myself as I could be, but definitely will prevent some joy from happening.
Well, that's so good, Katie. Those are both good. The comparison one is such a good reminder. Like that totally wasn't even on my radar when we were like talking about joy. So I'm glad you brought that up. I feel like it's one that I should maybe tell my kids more, or want to, but I feel like that's anytime it comes up, they're like, well, so-and-so this, and I'm like, doesn't matter.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's not easy because it's hard, and you see something you want, and it's just a difficult thing to overcome sometimes.
Yeah, good reminders though, for sure. All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been an awesome conversation around joy again. And I was going to say, I love those hoops that you're wearing. They look so good. Those are the Citrine gemstone hoops that we have. But do we want to go ahead and close with our affirmation of joy? So on our Citrine card, the affirmation is, I find joy in every situation. So thanks so much for joining us today to learn a little bit more about cultivating joy in your life. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.